Zayna Allen here with Bold TV, and I am here with Queens-based native Shomari. How are you today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Awesome. We're glad that you were able to come out. So let's start off with your role in The Chi. What has that been like for you?
Well, the process was an amazing process, but it all culminated to what we see as Bilal in the season premiere of The Chi. It was something when the first season premiered of the show. It's a show that I became a fan of myself. Started watching it, and instantly I remember speaking to my manager one night in my family. I said, I got to get on the show. Like, I felt like it was so authentic and genuine, and I had to be a part of it. So just everything coming to fruition and actually becoming a part of the cast and getting on the show for season premiere was just a dream come true.
So when it comes to being in a show about Chicago,
right,
what is it like to prepare for a role like that?
I feel like it's a great question. I feel like growing up in Queens, New York, that being an urban environment, and Chicago, it's not that much different. Climate shift over time periods, but I mean, when I actually went out to Chicago, I had to go out a few times for callbacks and things like that. Experiencing, seeing what life was like, it wasn't that much different. I wasn't really shocked, surprised. I wanted to make sure that I got to see what it was like on a grassroots level. I mean, even from when I landed at O'Hare, I took the public transportation, train, bus, everything. I even stayed near to where we're filming in the areas that I thought I would be able to absorb as much as possible and be able to deliver an authentic performance.
So your character Bilal you said he's a bad guy.
I mean, for those who, I'm assuming everyone has seen it by now because we're approaching on the third episode now. But yeah, he's an interesting character. You call him maybe like a Judas. He appears as one thing and then totally just flips the script and becomes a different person and does something that's really unpleasant.
Well, I'm excited to see that.
I'm
excited to see the progression of Bilal.
Right.
So, with being that The Chi, is taped in Chicago, what do you feel about the crime rate? Things that Chicago is known for. And actually, the Chicago Sun-Times reported that the crime rate, the homicide rate went down 30% in Chicago, which is great. Which is something very interesting to me because Nipsey Hussle just recently died from gun violence as well. So what exactly would your thoughts be on that?
I mean, those statistics, it's like music to my ears, knowing that that pattern is being reversed essentially. What troubles me the most about violent crimes and gun crimes in neighborhoods like that is that the weapons don't come from there. The adolescents, the teens, whoever it is that's using those weapons, they don't make them. There's not a shop class in their school where they build them. Those weapons are getting there somehow, and the fact that the statistics are showing that it's going the opposite direction means that the necessary parties are doing something to nip that, to put a stop to it. I think that's important. It's happening in other communities as well. Now, on the contrary, I also read that statistics were showing attacks or abuse on elderly persons have gone up in the past 10 years, which was kind of why this scene was very important between Bilal and Miss Ethel, because it's raising awareness to a problem such as that a lot of people didn't really know about. I believe the Tribune spoke about it as well, and Vibe. So there's a lot of awareness that's being built around those issues. I feel like a lot of the youth nowadays, it's kind of been a shift a little bit. I don't know if it's because of the social media and
right.
I don't know what the reason may be, but there's definitely been a shift. But at the same time, I think we're able to reach more people now and to address these things before they become too problematic. That's the goal.
Right.
So I think this helps do that.
So touching on community, and I'm sure being on a set like that, you guys end up becoming a community, you and all the rest of the cast. What is it like on set?
Wow. I got an opportunity to go there a little bit early, and I got a chance to meet with the directors, some of the producers, and some of the cast, and you could definitely see that there's that bond there, that the moment that you get in the presence of everyone, there's definitely a family vibe that you're building something special. I mean, I'm from everybody, from principal actors on the show to the people who are in background. Everyone has this really positive energy. And my director was Jet Wilkinson, and she's incredibly talented. And the executive producer and writer for for this episode was Ayanna Floyd Davis. I remember when I first met her on set, I was getting into character. I was in my mode, but she was just so receptive and just greeted me with the brightest and warmest smile. And I had to like break character for a second, just as oh shoot, this is the boss. Let me, you know what I mean? Let me give her the proper greeting she deserves. But yeah, it was amazing.
So you're working with a female producer, and what do you feel the importance is of having, you know, women in media?
It's the most important. It's the most important. One of my heroes, my role model, is my mother. I was raised by my mother, my grandmother, and I couldn't imagine where I would be without them. And in media, I feel as if something's going to be successful, if something is going to have that touch that it needs, and to have that attention to detail and the finesse that it needs, a woman has to be involved.
Right.
A woman has to be involved, and it's a beautiful thing that there's so many diverse women from different backgrounds that are involved in projects such as these. And I think it should continue to grow that way.
I agree. I mean, women are pretty great.
Right.
So speaking about community, you are a member of Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated. For those who don't know at home, Omega Psi Phi Fraternity is a part of the National Non-Pan-Hellenic Council, which is a bunch of African American sororities and fraternities. And I'm not sure if you noticed, if you've seen it. I know we talked about it before. The Beyonce documentary that just came out. She talked about her performance at Coachella, where she wanted to highlight African American culture and African American schools, HBCUs. And how important do you think that is? You know, that we show that diversity in media.
I think it's very important. As you mentioned, I'm very familiar with the HBCUs. I'm very familiar with my fraternity, Omega Psi Phi, which was founded at Howard University in 1911. I, however, did not attend an HBCU. So for me, experiencing like the arts and the theater programs that my university offered, I noticed that there wasn't a lot of diversity in a lot of these programs, and I didn't really see people like myself that were involved in like the theater in those programs. It was only till I realized that there were certain members of my fraternity actually who had made certain advancements in the entertainment industry, and then certain role models of mine, such as Sidney Poitier, who broke barriers, that, you know, that set a precedent and that, you know, made us aware that things like that are possible, but it's not enough. So we have to continue to have that presence. I think it's very important. Just right now, the climate, there's a lot of content right now that is very inclusive, that represents a broad spectrum. You know, it's not one way to be African American. You know, there's so many different people from different backgrounds and walks of life, and we're seeing a lot more of that now in the arts, and I think it's very important, and I hope that we continue to go in that direction. Definitely. So
you mentioned Sidney Poitier. Would that be someone that you aspire to be or be better than?
Be better than, I mean, man, that would be an honor. Yeah, Sidney Poitier, he's definitely up there. Then you have Denzel Washington, you have Idris Elba, and then like one of my all-time heroes is Nelson Mandela. He's just, I think, he's the ultimate humanitarian. We actually share the same birthday as well.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah. So yeah, but Sidney Poitier, I mean, I study him. I study his work, and I think we all should. Actors, entertainers, producers. He did something that was almost impossible during the time that he did it, and it looked like he'd even break a sweat doing it. So we should continue to like carry that torch.
Can you tell us what we can look forward from you?
Yeah. So I did my first feature film here in New York City last summer. It's titled Maya and Her Lover. It's a romantic drama, romantic comedy, and should be looking out for that. Hopefully later on this year.
Okay.
I'm really excited about that. And other than that, I have a pilot that I was working on in Atlanta. Title's not released yet, but I'm hearing good things about it. So hopefully that comes to fruition really soon as well.
Yes, Atlanta always has great stuff.
Yeah, Atlanta showed me a lot of love in the beginning, so I gotta show love back to Atlanta whenever I can.
All right, well, thank you, Shomari, for joining us.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me.
Yes.